Up here on Andersonville, Emory Road, you've heard me talk about that several times. We have that. It's supposed to be going this summer while school's not going on at there at Andersonville School right there. We have two contracts, one that's fixing to expire this month, so we have to go through County Commission to get the second phase of that contract so they can go ahead and start that. So it looks like it is probably going to go ahead. Again, they told me last week going to go ahead, and it will interfere with some of the school time, but they're going to start like at 9 o'clock and end early, so that will alleviate some of that traffic out that way, Lee. So I know you're up and down that street quite a bit also. But let's just, you know, let's get it done. It needs to be done. Another thing we do is, and every month, you know, people here are pretty smart, pretty astute, knows what's going on a lot. But you know, for some people, you don't know, we have a lot of boards and appointments. We do just about every month. We have boards and appointments, and y'all are pretty active in the community. I know, Dwayne, you've served on some committees and stuff, but there's other committees. If you will, everybody here, I think, knows our mayor on a first name basis, and he knows you on a first name basis. If you're in this club right here today, I don't think there's a person Tim Burchett does not know. And if there's that's in this club tonight, if there's a club or a board that you'd like to serve on, just, you know, find out when that position may come open and get your name in the pot. Get your name in the pot for that appointment. He has some appointments. We as commissioners, we have appointments for things. So, I mean, there's MPC, there's BZA, there's library board. What did we do today? We did board of zone, not the industrial board. We did that today. So that there's about every month. There's even Hallsdale Powell. We make the appointments for Hallsdale Powell on there. So look at those. Also, this is the month. Anybody here from the property assessor's office? I know, Carter, you used to work there. This is the month if you want to have your property reappraised. This is the time to do it during the month of June. So if you think that your property is valued too much, go over and see Phil Ballard. Here again, I think he would know all of you on a first name basis, and go up and see him. And they have a citizen appointed group that goes through, about 3 or 4 people in those committees. I've taken several constituents through with that because they're scared to death. Hey, I don't know how to do this. It's pretty simple. Just take your comps and stuff and your neighbor's comps and say, you know, my neighbor's at 250 and I think mine should be 200 because, you know, just the size of the house, whatever. But they're pretty good about that. And if you get turned down on that, you can also then appeal that to the state. I think that's is that in August, Carla, when the state? I think that they do that. But that's appointed by citizens too. Also in the budget we have doing a lot more roads that are being paved. Anybody here in Saddlebrook subdivision? Anybody live here? That's going to be the first that's one of the first subdivisions that we are going to pave. One thing we are waiting on is we just approved a $190,000 paver. So when that new paver comes in, it's going to start hitting the roads. And Dave, how much more? Is it like 3 times more? I think the roads that we're paved than what it's quite a bit more than what we had in the past. I know.
Miles.
What?
27 miles.
Yeah, I knew it was 20. It seemed like last year we did like 16 miles. One thing I just want to mention to you just real quick, something that you may not know, and I mentioned this to some close, just the gee whiz factor out there. But if you're in a subdivision and you've got a retention pond, retention basin close to butts up to your house or your son or daughter's house or whatever, they live in the subdivision, guess whose job that is to clean that out? After that subdivision is sold off, the person that their lot adjoins to that is their property, and they have to clean that out. And you're talking quite a bit. You're talking thousands of dollars to clean those. And you know they're in every subdivision, little retention ponds, whatever. But that's just sort of gee whiz. So you got family members fixing to get one. Better make sure that they've got a backhoe they can get out there too. Just one last thing. I just want to talk to you real quick about the budget. The budget was the biggest thing, as you know, what we had. That was the biggest that, you know, I've served on MPC for 8 years. This is my 6th year in county commission. You take all the phone calls I've gotten on any one subject, all the subjects together. When this last budget, I still got more phone calls, emails. We're getting 250 emails a day. If you're in the 7th district, I answered that. But if you're in Farragut, whatever, I mean, I hate to be cruel, but I don't represent Farragut. And so I really paid attention. I read every one of them, but I really paid attention and I tried to answer, return phone calls for every single person that was in the 7th district and let them know, here's where I felt and whatnot. And as you know, I felt like there were 70 to 80% of the people just felt like this was not the time. Well, one thing I thought that was interesting in this and through the process was that at our meeting, we had the people from the shoppers showed up. Shoppers showed up and said, if you support this, we're going to support you. And what does that tell you? You're sitting up there as commissioner. What does that tell you? If you support this, we're going to support you. And then after that, Senator Clark goes around and passed out flowers or feathers. And that told me if you don't vote for it, you're chicken. So I didn't appreciate that. Don't come up to us, you know, Bill, you and Randy, y'all don't like to be threatened on votes. And I felt like that was an out-and-out threat that you all better vote for this, because if you don't, we're not going to support you. Of course, I've never been supported by the shopper anyway. And especially Betty Bean. You know, she cannot get anything correct on a quote that I've ever said. But you know, that's maybe why she can't hold a job in any newspaper. I do want to congratulate Dan with the focus. This is her 10th anniversary. 10th anniversary. Is it this week?
This week.
And I do, you know, you all heard us last week. You had Steve Huntley stood up and he spoke. He talked about the polls. He defended his polls and whatnot. He couldn't make it tonight. But you know, I want a paper that doesn't have an agenda. Somebody just wants to report what the news is and try to be up front about everything. But we appreciate what you all do, and Dan is everywhere. Everywhere you go. I call him Photo Dan out there. He even went to the White House and got with Pat Summitt. So we appreciate it. I know that was a highlight, you know, for you. But yeah, if you're anything about me in the shopper, if it's from Betty Bean, just reverse it.
Thank you, Larry. I watched